Hello, and welcome to another episode of our Midday Mentors program by APMG. Today I have Lawrie Kirk joining me from Australia. Hello, Lawrie.
Hello, Stephan. How are you going?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
Lawrie is an ambassador for the DevOps Agile Skills Association. Acronym is DASA. So today we're talking about some things around DevOps and about DASA. Lawrie, what is the ambassador? What kind of role is that, and what impact does it have for you, your customers, and for the market?
Yeah, thanks, Stephan. Look, the DASA DevOps Ambassador program I've been involved with for about 3 or so years, and I was attracted to it by getting people who are able to be ambassadors, as we know, but actually reflect and carry out some of the information about DevOps. My role specifically is to help business understand what DevOps is about, and that particularly is what attracted me. I also attracted by the fact that we have about, I think it's close to 30 ambassadors around the world from different sectors, and you learn so much by people who have different cultural backgrounds. In Australia, we have two ambassadors now and one in New Zealand, so it's lovely to have now 3 ambassadors that we share knowledge about DevOps.
Yeah, and sharing knowledge and telling people about what is DevOps. You also have created a couple of blogs.
Yes.
Which is the modern way of communicating next to personal communication, I suppose.
Well, it is. It starts the discussion. I think, one of the things that I've enjoyed about this is listening to different viewpoints. And, a good blog should be 400 or 500 words, but it should be there to stimulate discussion. And that's what I've done in the 2 or 3 blogs that I've written already for DASA.
DevOps is about a piece of technology or a piece of software you develop, maybe even a concept, and that has to go from development, from finishing that development into operations. That's what DevOps stands for. And when it comes to ops, then there is just a variety of new challenges, how to support something. We have existing models that deal with operations of IT systems. One is ITIL. There are others now. Luckily, there are others as well. So what is your particular domain in DevOps where you're looking at? Because it also has an aspect of behavior.
It does, and what I like to focus on is that I can help people when we want to get that particular new application into operation. You're needing to have the business side, understand, is this still fit for purpose? How can I do it? What change do I need to do to make this, embed this as business as usual? Now, that's where my sort of sector that I represent and have had experience in is in project and program management. Now, if we think about project and program management, what are we doing? We're implementing change and a lot of interfacing between that business and IT. So that's what attracted me with DevOps. And also with the pandemic that we've all experienced, I think there's been a greater appreciation in the project and program managers of the ability for people to bring something from concept into production very quickly and make changes. As you see, my home office has become my office for the last 2 years. But during this time, I've also had multiple upgrades from Netflix. I've enjoyed, at the end of the day, streaming, and I've noticed, incremental improvements. And if you look behind the scenes, a lot of that is because there's a willingness and the ability to bring new applications to life very quickly and not get bogged down into a program or project life cycle. So I could see the advantages of DevOps.
Some say that DevOps would actually replace the traditional way of doing projects and programs, and I know you have written a blog article about this, which people can find in the video description here, where you let's say, challenged that statement. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, Stephan, it's one of a series of blogs that I've been putting together, and the first one was about I've been listening and hearing some of the misconceptions. You know, I'm a consultant, and I work now back as a consultant working in program and project management, and you hear things. And I remember, first of all, someone said, oh, we don't need any controls, we're just doing it under DevOps. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound right. So I wrote a blog about that. And then another comment came up, well, we're going to be doing it by DevOps, therefore we don't need any of you project or program managers. But I thought, well, that doesn't sound right. So I thought, that sounds entertaining. So I then started to explore that a little bit more, and there was some robust debate about that. And then I wrote the blog saying I don't think, and I'm sure that it's not there to replace program and project management. Each have a role. So in the blog I outline a few suggestions on how we should be working together and recognise and show respect for each other's disciplines.
And that's in the blog.
It is.
I mean, isn't it always the case that there is no one size fits all? There is no one single framework or one single concept that makes life happy. It is always to deal with the combination of take the best of breed from these different concepts. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is, and often it's hard. Like, this can be a very controversial topic, and people, I don't mind passion because it shows that people are interested in it, but people can be very passion risers, and people feel that they, you know, their opinion is this must be the one way we do it. We don't live in that one way. You know, a natural ecosystem is by default has many different ways of looking at things. I was having trouble expressing this, and finally I know that in your love of music and my love of music as well, I thought about it and I thought, well, let's take an orchestra. An orchestra has strings, wind and percussions, right? So why and we accept that an orchestra will give a wonderful end user experience by a beautiful combination of one of all three of the others. Now some music is totally dominated by the strings, totally dominated by DevOps. But behind there at certain times, at crucial times to give a greater depth, you will find that the wind and percussions will chip in, just as project and program management will chip in. So I explored this opportunity and I felt that it resonated. Everyone I've been talking with said, you know, that makes sense. So that gave me confidence to write the blog.
All right, I can clearly see where you're coming from, and I mean, I like the metaphor of the orchestra. So there might be a wonderful piece of music, but when then suddenly that French horn is playing, that drives the tears in your eyes, isn't it? That's right. That extra piece. So that's why an orchestra makes sense, not just the singer.
Well, it is. Instrument. And I was a bit bold at the end where I suggested that, well, it worries when people say, we're working for the PMO. And I ask them to always say, is that the project management organisation or the program? That's my first thing that I always try and clarify. Then I realise the O on the end. My challenge to you, why would you not want to think it as a program management orchestra? Think of what a PMO does. PMO basically brings people together. A good program manager is very much like a conductor. Now, mind you, I haven't worn a tux and don't have not conducting, but you think about a good program manager, like a good conductor, has to know enough about where to head and knows what's happening in front, brings the audience through. There are certain times throughout the piece where there's lulls. He has to adapt. No one time is identical to the other. So there's a lot of strong points that we should consider with the orchestra connection.
I can't agree more on that.
Well, there's one other small point that, I've probably been doing this running programs and projects since I was 21. And it might surprise you, but that wasn't yesterday. So one of the other things about the orchestra metaphor is that, sometimes some of the sweetest music comes from some of the oldest instruments. So I was just reminding that, just because someone's been around for a number of years in portfolio, program and project management, it's good to actually consider some of those other, dare I say, older points of view. And I think that's what we should be doing when we're putting teams together. Look at experience, look at skills, look at how they can contribute at certain times. So I enjoyed writing the blog. It it was published just before Christmas on the DASA blog site. And I've had some really interesting discussions since then. And I think it's, getting people to think about how they might be approaching situations, be a bit more open-minded when they're hearing the word DevOps. There's some of the things that have, some of the responses that I've had, and I look forward to more.
Thank you very much, Lawrie.
Thank you, Stephan.